If you think your family can't ruin your love life, let me tell you how my mom destroyed mine in the most twisted way possible. She had an affair with my girlfriend's dad. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel for more powerful stories. Thank you. Before all of this blew up, Emily and I were one of those couples people thought were perfect together. We met at a friend's game night. She was this girl with messy brown hair, wearing a hoodie 3 sizes too big, and still somehow the most beautiful person in the room. She was killing everyone at Monopoly. Not just winning, absolutely destroying us. I remember watching her slam down Boardwalk, like she was sealing a business deal, and thinking, I have to know this girl. We talked for hours that night. About music, bad Netflix shows, our weird childhood stories. She told me she once tried to build a zip line from her bedroom window to a tree in the backyard and ended up in the air with a sprained wrist. I told her I once ate an entire bag of marshmallows just to win a dare and then threw up in my neighbor's rose bushes. 2 weeks later, we were dating. When I brought Emily home to meet my mom, I wanted it to be special. My mom, Lisa, was the kind of person who could charm anyone. She had this big smile, this contagious laugh that could fill a room. She made her famous lasagna, poured wine for everyone, even though Emily and I just had Coke, and asked Emily about her job, her hobbies, her favorite foods. Emily seemed to like her. And my mom seemed to like Emily. Too much maybe, but at the time, I didn't think anything of it. Emily's dad, Mark, was the opposite of my mom in almost every way. He was quiet, reserved. The kind of guy who didn't waste words. He had this deep voice, like gravel and warm coffee. And he owned a construction company. Hands always a little rough, always smelling faintly of sawdust. I respected him immediately. He was the kind of man who could fix a broken fence, grill the perfect steak, and tell you exactly what was wrong with your car just by listening to it. When our parents first met at a barbecue, I thought it went great. They shook hands, made small talk, laughed a little. No alarms in my head. Just 2 adults being friendly. Over the months, our families started seeing more of each other. Birthday parties, dinners, even a weekend trip to the lake once. I remember catching my mom and Mark talking by the water, smiling. She was laughing at something he said, touching his arm. I thought, cool, they're getting along. I mean, isn't that what you want when you're serious about someone? You want your families to blend, to feel like one big happy group. But I didn't notice the lingering looks. Or the texts my mom started getting late at night. Or the way she seemed to put on extra lipstick whenever we were going somewhere Mark would be. One time, Emily and I were watching a movie at her place when she casually mentioned, my dad's been smiling at his phone a lot lately. It's kinda weird. He's not usually like that. I joked, maybe he found a meme page she likes. She laughed, but her eyes didn't. Another time, I walked into our kitchen at home and saw my mom texting. She quickly flipped her phone over. I didn't even think twice, I just assumed it was work stuff. She was a realtor, she was always messaging clients. We trust our parents. We don't assume they're sneaking around behind our backs. Back to that Tuesday night. I'm staring at Adam's text, my pulse thudding in my ears. Emily notices I'm pale and asks, what's wrong? I show her the photo. She stares at it for what feels like an hour. Her lips press into a thin line. Her hands start shaking. That's my dad, she whispers. We both just sit there in silence. The TV is still playing in the background, some laugh track from a sitcom, but it feels like it's coming from a different planet. Emily calls her dad. No answer. I call my mom. She picks up on the 3rd ring, sounding breathless. Hey honey, everything okay? Where are you? I ask. She hesitates. Out with a client. Why? Out with a client. Or out with Mark. There's a pause long enough to feel like a confession. Then she says, we'll talk when I get home. And hangs up. She walks in half an hour later, still wearing the same red dress from the photo. She doesn't look guilty. She doesn't even look surprised to see Emily sitting there. Emily speaks first. Is it true? Are you seeing my dad? My mom sighs, sits down across from us and says, yes. We didn't plan it. It just happened. I can't believe how calm she is. No shame. No apology. She starts explaining how they understand each other in ways no one else does. How they just connected and couldn't fight the feelings. Emily's voice breaks when she says, do you realize what you've done? You've made it impossible for us to be together. My mom just shrugs and says, if your love can't survive this, maybe it wasn't meant to be. That was the moment something inside me snapped. Emily left without saying another word. I stayed sitting there, staring at the wall, while my mom kept talking about how love is complicated and things happen for a reason. The next day, Emily texted me, I can't do this. Every time I think about us, I picture them. I'm sorry. And just like that, everything was over. That night, my mom came into my room like nothing had happened. So, are we going to talk about it? She asked, leaning on the doorframe. Talk about what? How you blew up my relationship. Or how you've been sneaking around with my girlfriend's dad for months. She frowned. It hasn't been months. Don't exaggerate. Oh really? Then when did it start? Her eyes flickered for a second, just enough to tell me she was about to lie. 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks. Right. And I was born yesterday. 2 days later, I stopped at the grocery store to grab some stuff. That's where I ran into Ryan, Emily's younger brother. He looked at me like I'd personally caused the end of the world. You know they've been at this for almost half a year, right? He said, no greeting, no small talk. What? Yeah. Dad's been sneaking out at night. Mom thought it was work. Guess it wasn't. Emily's crushed. She hasn't left her room in days. Half a year. That hit me like a punch to the gut. My mom had been lying to my face for that long. I couldn't stand the idea that Emily thought I knew and kept it from her. So I drove to her place. Her mom opened the door. She didn't say much, just shook her head and told me Emily didn't want to see me. I just want 5 minutes, I said. Emily came to the door, eyes puffy and red. What do you want? I didn't know about them. Not until Adam sent me that photo. She stared at me for a long moment. I believe you, she said finally. But it doesn't change anything. And she closed the door. It didn't take long for the rest of the family to find out. My aunt called me one night, furious. Do you have any idea what your mother's doing to this family's reputation? Emily's relatives were even worse. I heard from friends that her mom was telling everyone my mom seduced her husband and destroyed their marriage. It turned into this ugly, public mess. People at the grocery store whispered. I even overheard some old guy at the gas station say, that's the kid whose mom ran off with her boyfriend's dad. 1 week after the breakup, my mom invited me to dinner. Mark will be there, she said, like that was supposed to make me happy. I went anyway, partly because I wanted answers, partly because I wanted them to see the damage they'd caused up close. Mark barely looked at me. My mom kept trying to talk about moving forward and accepting what you can't change. At one point, I couldn't hold it in. Do you even understand what you've done? You didn't just date some random guy, you chose the one man who would guarantee my relationship would end. Did you even think about me? She set down her fork. I'm sorry you're hurt. But my happiness matters too. That sentence burned into my brain like acid. A few days later, Adam called me. Man, you should know. I saw them together way before that night at the restaurant. When? He hesitated. Back in February. It was August now. That meant they'd been lying for 6 months, exactly like Ryan had said. I went through my phone, looking at old photos. There it was, a picture from Emily's birthday in March. My mom and Mark standing together in the background, smiling in a way that made my stomach turn. Out of nowhere, Emily's mom called me one afternoon. I just want you to know, I don't blame you, she said. You're not responsible for what your mother did. But I need you to understand, my kids are hurting. Emily might never forgive any of you. Hearing her voice tremble like that made it worse. Because even though I wasn't the one having the affair, I still felt guilty. By the end of that week, I made a choice. I wasn't going to be part of whatever happy couple fantasy my mom and Mark were trying to build. When she asked if I wanted to come over for a barbecue, Mark will be there, I told her flat out, not interested. She said I was being childish. I told her she was being selfish. And for the first time in my life, I hung up on my mom. It started at my cousin's engagement party. I wasn't even planning to go, but my aunt begged me, saying, it's important for the family to come together. Big mistake. The party was in this rented hall, decorated with string lights and flowers. I walked in, grabbed a soda, and was trying to stay invisible. But then I saw them, my mom and Mark, walking in together, holding hands like they were teenagers at prom. The room went silent for a few seconds. You could feel the air get heavy, like a thunderstorm was about to hit. Emily's mom was there too. She spotted them instantly and froze. Then she walked straight up to my mom. You have no shame, do you? She said, loud enough for half the room to hear. My mom gave her this fake sweet smile. Nice to see you too, Karen. Karen's face turned red. You blew up my marriage. You broke my daughter's heart. And you have the nerve to show up here with him? Mark finally spoke. Karen, that's enough. No, Mark, it's not enough. You're pathetic. At this point, everyone was watching. Phones were coming out. People were whispering. I stood up. You two should leave. My mom looked at me like I just betrayed her. Excuse me? You heard me. You're turning this into a circus. She laughed, actually laughed. Oh, so now I'm the bad guy? You think love is neat and tidy? It's messy. You'll understand one day. No, I said, my voice shaking. What I understand is that you're selfish. You didn't care what this would do to me or Emily. The whole room was dead silent except for someone's phone camera clicking. Karen stepped closer to my mom, and for a second, I thought she was going to hit her. If you think you're walking into this family and playing stepmom, you've lost your mind. My mom rolled her eyes. I'm not trying to replace anyone. I'm just living my life. Karen's voice cracked. You're destroying people's lives. Mark grabbed my mom's hand and said, let's go. They walked out together, and the door slammed behind them.